Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I hope that you are all good. In today's video we are going to be doing a reverse stamping nail art tutorial, so I really hope you all enjoy watching. I absolutely love stamping and I don't feel as though I use it to its full potential, so I wanted to get in there and get some more reverse stamping done. So we're going to be using this Fashion Power plate from Born Pretty because I wanted to go for this abstract faces vibe for this set of nails. So I'm going to be using my Simply Polished stamper with a lint roller. This is what I use to clean my stamper with. I always start off by cleaning my stamper as well, even though it does have a lid, just in case anything is on the surface of that stamper head. Today's video we're going to be using several colours from Clear Jelly Stamper. I just showed you guys the two because I weren't 100% sure what colours I was going for. And then I'm going to of course use my Miss Lucy scraper. So we're going to be starting off with this gorgeous champagne gold colour. Before we jump into this video, actually, if you want to see the acrylics that I have on my nails already done, if you missed that video, it's the previous video, so I will leave it linked in the cards above for you guys if you'd like to check that out. So then we're going to come in and start our stamping. So I've applied a generous amount of stamping polish, scraped, quick flick of the wrist with your roller, and then I just removed the excess using my lint roller, and then we're going to press down this gold, champagne gold kind of random shape. So on this set I want to have these abstract shapes as the background, and then I want to come in with one of the faces and then do a little bit of reverse stamping with the faces. So reverse stamping is when you apply your stamping polish, you color in basically your image with your stamping polish whilst it's on the head of your stamper. So I'm going to start off by picking this image up as normal, so a generous amount of stamping polish, scrape to remove that excess, quick flick of the wrist, rolling that stamper across the plate to pick up the image. I'm just going to remove any excess with my lint roller, and then taking my Kiki London detail brush and some more stamping polish, we're going to go in with this really pretty green and colour in the little leaves that are along the side of this face. Now I've left the video in real time so you guys can see how slowly or how quickly I'm working. Now when it comes to stamping, you want to work fairly quickly because stamping polish dries quite quickly, so it's not like gel polish where it needs to go into cure. It works very similar to regular nail polish but dries a lot faster, so you want to work fairly quickly with it. And then once you've coloured in this section, or if you want to colour in more, of course you can, you're going to stamp down kind of as normal. When I say as normal, I'm going to actually apply a bit more pressure than I usually do, and I'm really wriggling to make sure that that image transfers to the nail. Now this is because I've spent more time with that image sitting on the stamper head, therefore it's going to have dried slightly on that stamper head, so you've got to kind of give it a little bit more pressure to get it to apply to the nail. Now if you are working over the tacky layer of gel polish, this is a lot easier. We're working over a matte surface because I'd done these nails already and applied a matte top coat. But when you are doing reverse stamping over gel polish and you've got the tacky inhibition layer left behind from your gel polish coat, the image transfers a lot easier. So maybe play around and practice that way. I'll do another video doing some reverse stamping over gel polish to show you guys what I mean. But I left the video all in real time so you could see how slowly / quickly I work, because with reverse stamping you do have to work a little bit quicker than what you do with normal stamping, in my opinion. So again, we've stamped down this bold champagne image, or sorry, not bold, that's the wrong word because it's not very bold, but opaque, large opacity image. These can be a little bit trickier to apply because you need to make sure that you're applying enough stamping polish to your image. So we'll talk about that when we apply another one of those. Again, with reverse stamping, I found that these images were a little bit tricky because the lines are quite thin. I did find it easier when I've done this where the lines are a bit thicker on the image that you're colouring in, but that's probably just because I need to have a little bit more practice. So we're going to swap in this one. Instead of using green, we're going to use peach. And it does work a little bit easier if you have a small palette that you can pop your stamping polish down on as well. I was just, because I'm only colouring in small in parts of the image, I was just taking it straight from the bottle brush. But if you was going to be applying a lot more stamping polish, it'd be easier to use a palette. So we've coloured in that little flower orange, and as you can see, it works really easy because you don't have to stay in the lines because you're putting the stamping polish colour over the previous image stamping polish. Oh my god, I can't make sense of this. But if you know what I mean, you can see in the flower, you can still see the lines that we picked up in that reddy brown shade. So you don't have to worry about being too neat because the lines are down first. So always clean off your stamping plate before coming in with your next image. So I'm going to give my plate a really good clean using some acetone and just a piece of paper towel. Giving it a nice clean, making sure that you remove all of that stamping polish because this will cause you problems when it comes to stamping your next image if there's any dried on stamping polish there. Now, as I mentioned, with the areas that we're doing in this champagne gold colour, they've got quite a large stamped space. This one hasn't got as much as the others, but when you are working on a stamping plate or an image that's got to be fully covered in with a fair amount of stamping polish, like we've got this large sort of funky shape here, you want to make sure that you're applying enough stamping polish that it's going to fully fill in that image. And you also want to make sure that when you're scraping, you're not scraping too much of it off. So on those kind of images, I'll tend to only do one scrape because you don't want to remove too much excess stamping polish that then the image isn't going to be fully coloured in and it won't look as opaque. I'll explain a little bit more on the next one because that one was only a small image. Then you always want to make sure that you give your plate a really good clean. So I'm giving that a good scrub with some acetone before we go in and pick up our next image. Now on this image, when it comes to applying the stamping polish, that went fine. When it comes to scraping the stamping polish, I went wrong, and you'll see what happens. So I haven't made good enough contact with my scraper and my plate, so it smeared all that excess stamping polish. So when you pick it up, it's going to pick up all that smeared stamping polish. So you want to get rid of that. It will not stamp nicely. So get rid of it using your lint roller, give your plate another clean using your acetone, and then always make sure that when you are scraping, you're making good contact between your scraper and your stamping plate. So I like to have my scraper quite low and I like to wipe towards me, and that's where I went wrong on the previous one. I scraped sort of to the side, it just wasn't thinking, and you can see that it just did not scrape that excess polish sufficiently that it left all those smear marks. So always make sure that you're using a good quality scraper. I want to make sure that it's quite firm. I've been using this one from Miss Lucy, which is a larger scraper, and I found that quite easy to work with as well. And then we're going to go in again like before and colour in a little part of the image. So I've just kept this quite simple for reverse stamping, and we're just using one colour on each nail. You could of course I could have come in here for example and did all these leaves different colors, and I think that would have looked quite good, but I was keeping it quite simple just because I wanted this set to look fairly simple. I didn't want it to look too over the top because I was wearing them myself, and I've kind of got out of the habit of wearing two OTT nails on myself. So as you can see, a little bit of that stamping polish didn't transfer, it's still on my stamper, but the design is filled in enough that it still looks good. So I'm just going to leave it as it is, and I'll just use my lint roller to clean that excess off. Always give your plate a good clean, like I mentioned. So we're going to come here. I always like to use acetone to clean my plates. You can use alcohol as well, but I just find acetone works a lot better, especially with the CJS stamping polishes. They're very highly pigmented, and I find alcohol doesn't break them down quick enough for me. So I always like to clean with acetone. My plate looks quite smeary here from the acetone, but that isn't going to affect pickup. So we're going to pick up another one of these larger images. So I'll show you guys what I mean. So I'm taking a generous amount of stamping polish and I'm going to cover the whole image with it. So then I'm going to scrape once, and I hold my scraper upright a little bit more. So when I was scraping previous, you see I went quite low with my scraper. Here I went more upright so that I could make sure I was keeping that stamping polish in that image. I did remove a part of this image as well, just so it give us a different shape, because I had already used this shape on the pointer finger and I just wanted to mix it up a little bit. Then we just pressed down, rocked from side to side and pulled off as normal. And then once again, then we're going to come in and clean the plate. I know it can probably seem quite repetitive and boring, constantly having to clean your stamping plate, but it's really important in my opinion to do that after each image. Of course, if you're working on a large plate and you're stamping on different ends and you know that the next image hasn't got any stamping polish on it, then you can skip cleaning. But I just think it's good habit to always get into cleaning your plate. So we're going to pick up this last little face over here. I quite liked this one. I thought the face looked quite moody and it kind of matched the mood I was in on this particular day, as everything was going wrong for me on this particular day, to be quite honest. I'm surprised the stamping went right. Again, I'm using my detail brush. If you don't have a small nail art brush to do this step, you can also use a dotting tool as well. You just want to be careful when you're working on your jelly stamper with anything sharp or pointy. So that's why I do prefer to stick to a detail brush, but I have seen people do it with a dotting tool. Just be careful that you don't apply too much pressure and puncture your stamper head. And then here I just coloured in all the flowers that are around her head in that pretty pink, and then we're going to stamp down once again. So looking through my stamper, I'm going to line it up where I want it to go. A good firm pressure, couple of rocks from side to side, and then slowly pulling off. And I see that up in the corner hadn't fully stamped, so I went back in again, and then as you can see, that image fully stamped on. And I was really happy with how this set of nails looked. I loved that there was a nice soft milky base, that it meant the colours in the stamping shone through and they were more the highlight of the set. We are going to come in now and seal our stamping in, and to seal it in I'm using my Kiki London top coat. Now I probably mentioned this in every stamping video, but this is my go-to top coat for over the top of stamping. So Kiki London have several different top coats. They have two different no wipe top coats, they have a rubber top coat, and then this is what I like to call a classic top coat. So it's one that does leave behind a tacky inhibition layer that you need to wipe off. But I don't know what it is, but this particular top coat just goes over stamping beautifully. Some top coats tend to separate over the top of stamping. I find it quite a lot with my CJP top coat. It just will separate over the image and I'll have to double top coat. With this particular top coat and with the Kiki London no wipe rubber top coat as well, I don't get any separation. So I applied that to all of the nails, popped it into cure, and then like I said, it is the kind of top coat that leaves a tacky layer, so you do need to wipe this off using some alcohol. So we're just going to do that here, and then it reveals the beautiful high shine that the top coat has. I really loved how this set turned out. I'm loving wearing them. I did do the thumb, by the way, but I did it off camera because I don't always like filming all 5 nails when they're the same on camera, because I feel it's just a bit repetitive. So I did my thumbnail off camera. But I've actually really loved wearing this set of nails, and I've struggled lately to wear longer sets of acrylics, but I'm persevering with these ones. So here I'm just going to take my cuticle oil and rub that into all 4 of the nails, giving it a good rub and massage in, and then I just will wipe over the nails again with a little bit of alcohol just to remove that excess oil from the nails before taking pictures. And this, guys, is the finished result. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you enjoy reverse stamping, and what else would you like to see me try with stamping? I feel as though there's probably a few techniques that I'm missing out on, and I definitely want to play around and take stamping to the next level, because it is something that I enjoy doing, and I've been doing it long enough now that I've picked up a lot of the basics, so I feel like I should move on to try and push myself to do more. So let me know your suggestions in the comments below. As always, all the products I've used are listed in the description box below, so check that out. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. Let me know what you guys have been up to in the comments below. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. Once again, thank you all so much for watching. Lots of love. Take care. Bye bye.